Hey everyone, welcome to the GYST podcast.
If you're tired of being comfortable and want to take on living life from the context of 100%, fuck yeah!
Join us each week as we share lessons we're experiencing in this crazy game called life.
We invite you to play along and get your shit together.
Take responsibility for how your life is currently going, and at the same time, take on new, fun, and sometimes crazy shit.
We promise to challenge your thinking by being vulnerable, authentic, and straight up with what we're dealing with, what doesn't work, and what can.
Be warned, this is not your grandma's podcast.
He's a big dude and he has MS. And I met him when he could still move around on his crutches. Now he's in a scooter, now he's in a wheelchair. And he's one of the first people to visit Poesie Rapetiste. He has come for almost all of the Thursdays for a whole year. He's one of the biggest supporters. I wasn't going to have a place if I couldn't get him in.
What was it called again?
Higher Ground in the Capitol
Hill.
And
when's that starting?
I think she wants me to throw the first gig November 1st. November 1st. It's 6 to 8.
Oh, shit. So we're going to have to be sharing that on the official podcast.
Yep.
What's November 1st? Is there something else November 1st?
I have no idea.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah,
Okay,
it's a Thursday.
That's a good oh shit.
It's also Thursday.
I thought it was a conflicting oh
It,
shit.
well, it is a Thursday, but, you know, not everybody can make the Thursday. It's all good. Saturdays are the big ones anyways. All right, so I think I don't think the power was in there, so it jiggled out, and then all my audio... It's like, no, you don't have any audio anymore.
What?
What the fuck?
Oh, shit.
Rough start.
My God.
It's all good.
So I'm putting poets back on the mic.
Yeah, man.
This is the best way I can give back to the poetry community. It's been very, very
Hey,
good.
man, I know a guy who could support you and
Put him in touch. If he needs
fill
the
the
mic.
roster on the first, maybe.
If he needs the mic.
Oh, shit.
Oh, I'm talking with this character over here, guy.
Oh, yeah, I thought of you, buddy. Yeah, you're going to be on. Eh? Like, there's no way he's not going to be on there.
Yeah, right?
Right?
Yeah, no doubt.
You're trapped. Awesome. I thought of him, too.
Let's see.
Anyway,
what am
so
I doing on
when
Thursday? I just got to double
when
check
me
here.
when me and this girl are going back and forth, I'm thinking of these new names that I've met. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to put them on. And I was like,
Wait a minute.
I'm like, yeah.
I know somebody who gets a feature here.
You get a feature, man.
You actually you don't just have a piece. You have multiple.
Yeah.
Wow.
Features are roughly, play the crowd properly. I always say you got 30 minutes. You play it right. 22 is usually where crowds will fade. You got to be dynamic, to hold them. But you got 30 minutes. Right?
That's the thing that I'm working on right now for the second. So it's the second Friday of November, which is the 9th, which is the week after that one. I do mine. That's in 4 fucking weeks, dude.
So, would you like practice in front of a crowd? I can get you on mine. Because the first night I'm going to do it won't feature any poets. I will feature and give a big open mic. It's 2 hours long. Right? So, there's room. You know what I mean? There is room. So, most of the people that come to poetry shit are loudmouths. Everyone wants a piece of that mic because it's a sharing event. There won't be any shortage of people to fill up 2 hours of time. There's time for you. You should come on down and do your thing.
Yeah, I think I will.
Come on down and drop it, man.
Yeah, well, I've been practicing, and to your point, like there is an engagement now that I'm massaging out and trying to find, what's my flavor inside of that, and so it's a 15-minute speak, right? And I've got probably 60% of it here already. So
that's impressive shit.
Yeah. There's still some, and I keep making small little tweaks, so it kind of derails me after a while. But powerful, like truing up, just keeping it tight. And I do a little bit of here's my process. So I blaze a little bit, not like you, but like me, which is like 2 other worlds, by the way. And I'm just I constantly reminded, like, dude, you don't have to play like that all the time. Like, you don't got to do that. You just got to do your thing because it works for you. Like, why do you got to do that all the time?
Hey, man, these are probably just our crew, but I got a notification saying we have 4 new Instagram followers. Oh shit! Where's the champagne?
Burn. Yeah, so I do a little blaze, and then I just get into what I'm saying. The considerations that show up disappear, and I'm now with what I'm talking about.
I'm telling you, man. Okay, so there was a CBC, apparently, I didn't hear it myself. There was a CBC interview, discussion about cannabis just the other day. And basically, from what I hear, a lot of the people who called in were kind of about the impairment. And then finally, kind of at the end of the show, it sounded like an elderly lady, sounded like a senior possibly, who kind of said, well, what if someone blazes up and they're better at what they do?
Right.
What if someone can socialize better? You know, why do I even have to have this conversation? Why does anyone have to have this conversation? Sometimes people are just better. Right?
I'm so analytical of my words when I don't have a little bit of a buzz going. The self-worth conversation now comes like, dude, this sucks. What are you doing? What are you doing right now? Like, that's the conversation I'm having in my head.
Yeah, man. It's very distracting, that conversation, when you're in front of a crowd and you're doing your thing and you don't feel like you have them.
Right.
Like, really don't feel like you have them. I know I'm good. I know I'm good every time on the mic. I know this. But it's not always a good...
Well, it's like anything, man.
Right?
It's like anything. We're all good at different things.
Yeah.
We've all,
And I go out there and...
dropped a pass from time to time.
I get that feeling when I'm not feeling that connection with the crowd for whatever.
You nailed it.
And you start hearing yourself chatting to yourself like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, totally.
And it
Mayday, going down.
It really is a voice, though. You're trying to do your poem. You're trying to perform your piece, and you can hear an actual voice simultaneously going. It sounds like two conversations. The one you're putting here, the one you're hearing there.
Yeah, and it is disconnected out there.
Yeah, right.
I've been that way, like 4 feet from people in a client meeting.
Good point.
Just having a conversation, being like, "Wow, this is not working."
There is a part inside of the piece that I talk about being with people, and so the whole part, and every time I think about it, I'm just gonna be with people while I'm up there on the stage and have them be all fucking awkward about it.
Yeah.
And just notice it, because too often we're not really, we're saying our thing, we're talking, we're dropping wisdom, but everybody's off in la la land because they don't feel like you're there with them.
That's right. There's a different level. Even if you're kind of, like you said, even if you're with one person out there for a minute, let's say, or 30 seconds, it's noticeable to the crowd. They notice that you're connecting, as opposed to if you're scanning or if you're in the sky or whatever. If you're with
some of the pieces that I'm talking about is about people,
right?
And that'll be in the crowd. So I get to be with that person for that piece, and others are just going to be random people, right? Like I'm excited, I'm nervous, and I can't wait.
Those are two good things to be: excited and nervous. If you're not excited and nervous,
why are you doing it?
Yeah, what are you doing? We were talking about that the other day, man. We're talking about, people on Facebook or whatever, wherever it is, just people in general. People who are complaining and bitching and whatever their thing is interesting, because it's like, I keep repeating this mantra: who wants my problems? Somebody wants my problems, right? Like, I got shit to bitch about, yeah? We all do. You could, if you wanted to bitch about it. But the reality of it is, I got a lot of shit going on for me. I got a lot happening, a lot of good things. And there is so many people in the world that would kill to have my problems, right? So I was talking to my buddy Mike last night. I was talking to Mike for 25 minutes. So Wake, I don't know if I shared the story, but my friend Mike is in a long-term care.
Before you go there,
sure.
Welcome to episode 45. We have a tendency to just kind of get into it.
Cool.
And we just want to welcome you to episode 45. And now, Vern, continue on with your story.
That was abrupt, dude. No. I would imagine most people listening know about my friend Mike. He's in a long-term care, so he's suffered a brain injury about 3.5 years ago, and he's done nothing but prove every doctor, every assessment, everything wrong. So he's in complete control of all of his bodily and mental faculties. It's just a matter of time now. This guy remembers everything.
That's so great.
We talked for 25 minutes. This is a guy who wasn't supposed to wake up, right?
Wow.
He never spoke a word for like 18 months or two, something like that. And then he like started making these little noises, little peeps, and then all of a sudden, boom, like it just was like accelerated. And now he's at like full sentences, right?
Is he really?
Yeah, dude. Like we talked I have it all recorded. We talked for 25 minutes.
That's
so
amazing.
It's been a while since I've actually...
I wanted to put something in your world, actually. This is kind of all over the place, so let me put a pin in that for a second. But it was interesting because we had a conversation last night, and I said to him, Mike, inspiring him, and we're talking, and we're listening back and forth. And I said, dude, like, who wants your problems? And his instant thing was like, nobody. I said, oh, okay. Let's look at that for a second. Let's unpack this, okay? So I said to him, LeBron James, as an example, is he doing okay? Is things going all right in his world? He goes, yeah. I said, okay, cool. Does he have problems? Yeah?
I would wager.
Of course he has problems.
Just a few.
Now, I would like to have his problems.
You think you would want
Well,
to
no,
know
but
his
here's the
problems.
deal. Yeah, I think I would. I don't know what that's like, but my point is I was saying to Mike, an extreme example, he's got problems. I want his problems. Many people want his problems, right? I've got problems.
Fair enough.
Many people want my problems. I said, Mike, you've got problems. Let's talk about Christopher Reeve for a second. He's passed away. However, he's another celebrity who had problems. And he was
very similar to Mike.
Very similar, but here's the deal. He suffered that injury, and then he was on assisted breathing for the rest of his life, and he had no opportunity, for the most part. I mean, for as far as we know, like, that guy was done. And then he died early. I said, Mike, you have an opportunity, because you're on the uprise. You have all the abilities and everything like that. The opportunity is there for you.
Christopher Reeves definitely wants your problems.
He wants your problems. Well, especially considering he's dead. But I said when he was alive, no, I'm just kidding. But when he was alive, yeah, he would have liked to have the opportunity to improve his situation. But he was pretty much maxed out where he was at.
Yeah.
Right? And that provided some perspective for him. So I'm thinking about having regular phone calls with him. I talked to him about
totally
a podcast.
That's awesome.
I would love to have
Something like, I do regular conversations with him, right? They're all recorded. It doesn't have to be the highest quality, but I said, dude, you got to get out there. You have things that you're doing that you can inspire people. We could have conversations and have fun and tell your story.
do some video.
Yeah, dude.
It would actually be more compelling.
Yeah, he was totally down for that. So cool. I would love to do something like that with him.
Let's make that a real thing. Then,
absolutely.
where we go down there on I don't know what days work, maybe a Saturday. We shift up the podcast a little bit, turn it into a video session. We come down with some of these cameras. We sit down and we just have a conversation with them.
Yeah, absolutely. That would be so cool.
And it would be, how often do you really get the perspective of those that have kind of like teetered on the edge of your mortality? I mean, there are people out there that speak of, seeing the light and blah, blah, blah. I can't speak to that because I've not been that close. So I don't know if that's bullshit or not. But Mike has this just this crazy perspective of the value of life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And to hear that would be so incredible.
As you can see, Wakefield's just vibrating over here.
You know what? I meant to actually set this podcast up a little bit differently, but we, in good GYST Life fashion, we just kind of jump into it. And I want to welcome Wakefield, because we had a conversation a couple of weeks ago, and Wakefield's like, dude, I want to come chat with you guys ongoing. And we're like, well, we got another mic.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I'm in.
I'm down.
And so
Here I am. Good morning.
That's right. So welcome, Wakefield, to the GYST Life.
Thank you,
You're going to
guys.
hear from him.
I feel welcome. Thank you very much.
Yeah, you're going to hear from him for, indefinitely so far.
Here and there.
Yeah.
Here and there and everywhere. Oh, sorry, guys. Hold on one second.
It'll be an interesting dynamic now with with the extras that start coming in, and this conspiracy. I like the idea of calling three people coming together. Gay Hendricks calls it a conspiracy.
Is that right?
That's right. And so we are conspiring right now, and this is like the perfect platform for a little conspiracy, no?
Oh,
Conspiracy. He says conspiratorially.
We met with my family. All got together yesterday, and we created what we call a mastermind. So that was pretty legit.
This is pretty cool.
Yeah, we did
share a little bit about that, actually.
A whole morning session together where we have like intimate conversation about who we are and what we're up to and what our purpose is in the world and what we're trying to create with our business and set some.
Where did this come from? Because there is a genesis of this idea. Why don't you share a little bit about that?
Like like where I heard of like a mastermind?
No, not mastermind, your mastermind.
Oh.
Your family mastermind.
Oh, like how it got created.
Yeah.
Right. Actually, yeah. So, I mean, it probably got created years ago. But, because it all leads up to it, right? Because we've all been, everybody in my circle, the people who are around me now that are tight, we've all been talking about similar things for a long, long time. And it's like, without intention, they slowly started to come together to a certain point where now we're all very charged up, passionate, and have intention. So, you and I were creating some things, and then on the Saturday where you came to my house for Thanksgiving, we just had like an incredible night. It was like, that was like the coolest family get together I think we've had in a long time. And then from that, half the people stayed. So my brother-in-law and his wife and their kids, and obviously my wife and kids were there. And then my sister-in-law and her boyfriend were there. And then my other brother-in-law, he came over because he lives close. He just showed up. Now we have everybody there on Sunday. So we wind up having like this really deep and intense, like personal conversation about like life and health and business and how we're all kind of doing things on our own. And we all, there's so much overlap in our problems, right?
And why are we doing it on
our own? Because it's like we could actually share those problems and we can share the successes and actually make everything a hell of a lot easier for everybody and hold each other accountable and share and create something. So I captured a bunch of that on video and it was emotional. People are fucking crying and all this. And then I captured a bunch on video. I showed them the GYST Life planner tool. And then my brother-in-law actually followed up and was like, hey, I got the time blocked on Friday. Do what you got to do. Let's get together and let's fucking create something from this. So we got together and talked about mostly the construction business, but just life and family and also that whole conversation about owning it. About what do you want to own? So I'm officially now, I'm the gatekeeper. I'm the 15-minute question and answer interview guy for hires. I'm the first stop.
For your family.
For the business, yeah. I'm the one
for the business.
I'm the one who gets to send new hires to my brother. So
right, because you have a certain strength and lens in which you look at things that's different from your brother.
Yeah, it's a filter.
Yeah.
So that's just one thing that got born out of it. But we created some magic yesterday and I captured it all on audio in good David fashion. I'm going to upload it to some kind of cloud or whatever.
Google.
So we can all share it and, good notes and actual action steps. And
dude, that's amazing.
Something just to bring this full circle from what we were talking about earlier about, people bitching, because we all have stuff to bitch about especially if you forget to be present. The people who are bitching, this is really unfortunate. People who are living life, like Wakefield, you're a prime example. All of us, yesterday what we created, there are people who have, from the outside looking in or from our standards, they have quote unquote nothing, right? But when you have passion, right? When you're in pursuit of something, you talked about it earlier too, when you're actually up to something in the world, you have like a juice. You have like, you bring something, right? And then when you're kind of doing things because you have to and out of obligation and you're always on the short end and the way you frame things is always about you and it not working out. Like, that's why life sucks. So to those people, I say, find your thing. Get some passion. Seek some passion.
Damn, and we will We'll link the previous episode that talked about finding your something, because that was an epic conversation.
Absolutely.
What do you there's something going on over there in Wake's world. He's creating.
There's a lot in these first 7 minutes or whatever we're at.
It's something I've said before. When you step into a new environment, let's say you step into a new home. Someone invites you into their home. You do not walk into the home and start rearranging the furniture. You walk into the home, you take the seat that is offered, and you view the landscape. So audibly, I do the same thing. I don't like to really walk in and bully a mic in a new atmosphere. I really like to feel it out. So it's nice to hear you guys do what I've heard in the podcasts online right in front of me for a little bit. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, totally.
It's good to just feel it happen in front of me. I can kind of even close my eyes and go, this is how it feels. This is what I'm stepping into. Blah, blah, blah.
I love it.
I'm here.
Yeah,
I love it.
I'm cool. I'm here. When you need something, boom.
Yeah, and you point to something really interesting, because it is unpredictable. It can be unpredictable. So to have somebody come in and just feel like and be taken over by the need to fill the space versus listen. Oh, for God's sakes, people, fucking listen. Because so many of us don't listen.
Man, you know how often this is something really simple, and I find it hilarious. Maybe I'm too, OCD about this, but when somebody sends me an email, I reply to the email. When I write my email, I reply to it line by line. Now, sometimes they say something that's fluff that I don't need to respond to, so I leave it. Right? I reply.
So you're addressing every single thing.
Yes. Yeah. So, like, if you asked me a question, let's say you asked me a 2-part question, I'd say, okay, so is this what I heard? And I repeat the question back to you. And then I say, okay, great. Let me try to answer your first question, and then answer the second question. I don't know where that comes from. Maybe it's my football, because it's very martial arts training, very specific. Listen to the instructions. I don't know. Construction. I used to do construction. Very specific. Listen to the instructions. We have a military background in my family. I don't know. But I find it very interesting how often I ask, let's say, 3 specific questions in an email even. And then I get a simple one-line answer back, and it doesn't address even any of the questions. It's just like, what did you read? What did I write?
Yeah.
What happened just there?
What were you doing?
It's very interesting. So now you're reading it and not even listening to yourself. Like, is that what's happening? It doesn't make sense to me.
I would wager that there is part of that's happening. You're reading. I do this, okay? So there's this book that I'm reading. It's brilliant. Such deep insight in how I can level up my business. And I am reading something, and it starts to get a bit heavy, like technical. I'll be like, oh man, I don't know this stuff.
Right.
And then right away, because I just created it, I don't know this stuff. And then it just like the conversation keeps going. And I keep talking about and reiterating like what I'm hearing that I don't understand it.
Right.
But I'm reading, but I'm not getting it because I'm over here.
And the whole time you're having a conversation with not getting it.
Yes. And then I realize, I'm like, dude, I just read 3 paragraphs and I have no clue what I just read. Right. I got to go back and read it again.
You make a good point. Wakefield, I want to come back. I want to come to you about listening.
All right.
So sit with that for a second. But what you just said is, okay, you read the whole page. After you're done feeling like a moron for just reading that page and not getting anything, you came back and started over.
Yes.
What does that look like inside of a conversation? Because you can do that in a conversation too.
Absolutely. Right? Well, you just got to reset it. Be like, dude, you know what? Sorry.
Yes.
I was thinking about something else. Can you recreate that for me?
And when that happens for you, if someone said that to you, if I said that to you, how does that make you feel as the storyteller?
It depends where I'm at in the story.
Sure, right.
If it was a critical moment and you weren't paying attention, I'd feel a bit irritated.
You might be a bit irritated. And at the same time, though, now let's compare that to how you feel when you say, right, at the end of your story, and I go, Yeah, right.
Yeah, totally.
And there was like some real obvious shit that I should probably comment on, and I'm like, dude, totally get that. I've been there. And then I just like walk away. And you're like, what the fuck?
Although the one that you just created could be a good catch-all for pretty much anything.
Oh, the one I created?
Like, whew.
So maybe I'm too good at that.
I think you might be.
So Wake, I want you to, because you're over there, and I think what David was referring to earlier is when both of us were speaking back and forth a little bit, like you said, you were getting present to what was going on, but you were vibing on something. So I want to hear from you about listening, because I get that you're the type of person that listens through your ears, you listen through your eyes, and I even think that you might listen energetically to what's going on around you. So I want to know what listening is for you.
Listening is a very, very funny thing. None of us do it the same way. Mm-hmm. So once you realize that right off the hop, you have to understand that miscommunication is inevitable.
Oh, shit, yeah.
It just is. Yeah. So get comfortable with being misunderstood once in a while and misunderstanding people. That's a human condition in communication. So when you mentioned, how do you feel when you're telling a story and you're getting through it, and the person is or isn't getting it, or they might ask you to repeat, or they look at you lost. You know, and you said, David, it depends on where I am in the story. It could be an emotional part or whatever. Honestly, when I did not tap into patience and understanding and a few things that everyone has, we just don't always exercise them at a high degree, consciously, all the time, often enough. But martial arts taught me a lot of things, and patience was one of them. So no matter how urgent the story may be, or emotional the story may be, or whatever, if someone is stopping me to get clarity, I'm cool with that.
Yeah, totally. It's where you are willing to put yourself in that moment too, right?
I'm willing to stop every time for someone. I don't care. Stop.
Now
I don't care. Stop.
That is powerful.
That is powerful.
To hold that kind of space, be like,
you don't understand me right.
It was okay. I am okay with where you're at right now, and I'm okay with making sure that you get what it is that I'm trying to share with you. Versus, what the fuck, man? Why you never listen to me? Blah, blah, blah.
You know what? The first thing that you said that I really loved is that you said, first of all, you said that there are different ways to listen.
Yeah.
People listen differently, and there are different ways to listen. And then you said, miscommunication is inevitable. Mm-hmm. Man, how freeing would it be as the speaker and the listener to know that there's a chance that you might not be picking up when I'm laying down? Right? It like totally takes everything away from you. It's all good.
Everybody wants to say something and doesn't want to interrupt anybody else. It's so great. Go ahead, Wake.
It's funny, not funny. It's peculiar. It's whatever adjective you wish to use. But it is also a norm. Mm-hmm. That in a room full of people, when you're trying to be understood and it's really serious and such, most of the room can miss you and no one is just honest enough to say, I miss that shit. Mm-hmm. It's fucking unreal how a room full of people will somehow gather a mob mentality without communicating with each other to miscommunicate with one person at the front who's doing their best to deliver a message. They've missed something. All of them have missed this big point, and you can feel it, and no one's saying, what the fuck did you say, man? Sometimes it's a compliment when someone goes, what the fuck did you just say?
Yeah, there's a way that they say, what the fuck did you just say?
What the fuck did you just say? I don't care how what the fuck did you just say? Okay, you gotta watch out for that one. Alright, that's what you're talking about, Willis kind of tone. But what I'm saying is, usually if someone is stopping going, what the fuck did you just say? You've said something that's just moved them
something that grabbed
a millimeter, and now you're about to move them a mile.
There is something really interesting there for me, because in this journey around tapping into a new self-expression, a new way of communicating in this hybrid of spoken word and storytelling and slam poetry, like my own version of that, I see the opportunity to be clear. That it's not about how I wield my words per se. And it's like inherent now. It's kind of like the artist who knows how to use a pen. Like, we get it. You can wield that bad boy pretty good. And it's not about that. It's like, what do you now create with it? How do you create with so that people relate to it? And every time I have this great sounding board upstairs, my beautiful wife, Maya, who is from another country, whose English is a second language. And when she shares with me, or when I share with her, and she's like, I don't get it. I'm like, okay, cool. You don't get it. So how do I have it so that when I read it, you get it? And there's a good likelihood that everybody will get it for their own reasons, but there'll be a context that's decisive then at that point.
Right. I have a very similar filter, but unfortunately it's because my wife does, like, I put her to sleep when I talk to her. So I figure if I can keep her awake when I'm speaking to her, I'm doing a good job.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So Wakefield, something hit you hard there again, and I just, there's just so much juice in this conversation for me. So
it was David's genuine giving a shit that she doesn't get it, or whoever it is doesn't get it. Let's take the emotional factor away from it being your partner, your wife. There's someone speaking to you and you don't get it, and you really give a shit to make sure they do.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, this person doesn't get, how can I love it when I hear people not shut off and start doing the, why don't you get it? It's okay. So how can I make you get it? It's just language.
Dude.
And then
no
there's...
one wants to try
Right.
to say it differently.
Yeah, try a different
for that
approach.
different person to understand them. The one thing, man, is you're the same person every fucking time, but you can change that variation. You can be your own variation of the theme. So, when different people require different elements of all of you, the sum of your parts, that's when it's time to, like, use them. When it comes to language, I don't know the numbers, but as a grown adult, most people probably learn X amount of words, give it a number, and they do not use what I love to say, the thesaurus, okay? Synonyms, they don't use them. So they use a bunch of words and they just mix and match their phrases in their language, and they never ever brighten things up.
Right.
Ever, ever, ever.
There's a richness to the language that's untapped for most.
And they're the same people that say they know the language.
Sure. At a rudimentary level, just getting by.
And look at our new Canadians and scoff and make fun of it. I actually work with new Canadians. The first thing I do is get them at ease, man. These guys are coming from different places, cultures, religions, creeds, this is all sorts of new. And English is a bully language. It's spoken everywhere. The English did it. So they're forced to listen to a bunch of us speaking this one language a billion different ways. I have an approach with new Canadians, and I tell them, you know enough already. I try to take the pressure off them and them learn to take the pressure off themselves. This is a lifelong thing. This is where you're going to be for the rest of your life. That's your plan. This language will be here the entire time you're here.
It ain't going anywhere.
Now, don't you fucking stress. You have enough language to fill out all the papers to motherfucking be here. And most of us who have been here wouldn't be able to fill out those papers without someone educated to do it with them. And you did that. Here you are. Don't worry about the fanciness with the language. Don't worry about the slang and the vernacular.
There's a power in simplicity.
I have said to them, you can ask, I said, an English person will speak to another English-speaking person and say, oh, pardon me, blah, 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 can you show me where the loo is, blah, blah. You could walk up to a person and say, bathroom, please. Just politely, bathroom, please. You're going to get it right away. I said, the greatest thing about new Canadians is they speak this language laser beam directly.
Totally.
Even if they use the wrong grammar or with all the mistakes aside, these people, new Canadians speak English in a direct way every time. That's an honesty. That's an honesty that is inherent in their delivery.
Yeah.
They're not being slippery with the language. They know these words. And you understand that. Forget the accent, forget the lilt. Look at the English. Probably more direct than yours, sir.
Totally.
Dude,
why are you so fucking fluffy? Somebody said that to me once.
David, you're so fucking fluffy. Man, I got a big download here. Okay, so
Wake almost choked on his coffee.
Okay, so we were talking about communicating with a crowd and sometimes how a disconnect happens, or even one-on-one with someone. And we were talking about listening first, and then I thought, okay, well, now that I'm communicating, I'm sharing something. How do I be gotten? And as I said, how do I be gotten? Within about a second, at least for me, you answered it. Oops.
Yeah, there was an answer.
The answer is, you give a shit. So here's the thing. I find when I'm most misunderstood, by the way, that's a big story that I have that nobody gets me. I find that when I'm most misunderstood, I'm within myself. It's about me. I need to be gotten. Listen to me. Why can't you hear me? They don't understand. It's over here. Now my concern is no longer with them. I don't give a shit about them right now because I'm thinking about me. And when I'm able to turn the conversation around is when I take the attention off myself and I have an intention. I give a shit that they get it, that they get something. So it's not about me. And this actually, I experienced this on Thursday night. I was having a conversation with some really cool people. And I went in there committed that they got value. And then in the middle of the conversation, I got derailed. And then it became about me. And then in a split second, I realized, holy shit, wait a minute. Without saying these words, I need to give a shit about them again. I need to get back over there with them and make sure that I can wrap this up such that they get some value by the end of this conversation. And I had no idea how that was going to happen. And guess what? They got value.
And that was the conversation you were talking about where the guy's like really impressed. He acknowledged you at the end.
At the end, and he doesn't.
And he's not that type of guy.
He doesn't strike me as the type of guy that would just give you words for no reason. And he said, dude, I'm impressed. So that was cool. And
so great.
The last thing with that, you talked about the new Canadian. Keeping it simple. And if they need to find a fucking bathroom, do you think they give a shit?
Well, they might.
They might give a shit that you get the message, right? Or whatever it is. Where's the bus stop? How do I fill out this paper? Whatever. They give a shit.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
So, yeah. That's what I got from your share. That was amazing.
You have said, and David, you have said, an us and them. I've heard an us and them. In the communication where there's the disconnect, where it feels like it's us and them. I do have a poem that's kind of us and them. Is it okay if I give a poem on this?
Let's do it.
Oh, time, dude.
Okay, so,
man, we really had to prime that pump, eh?
all right.
Totally.
So this poem is called The Rhythm Method. And just check it out. There's a really big me and you and us and them component throughout. Cats gotta know their limits, though nothing is absolute. I refute to be the dumbass galoot, getting the boot, stay rooted with streams and dreams of consciousness like string confetti. Raw spaghetti need H2O to create that undeniable, pliable flow, impeccable like a ball pass. Check for the syntax error and check what he be telling the youth mind that be swelling up and away in that balloon mind state of denial, putting the common man and common sense on trial. Ask Kafka. He come through hardcore to expose bureaucratic loopholes, democratic poop holes. I suppose that if a god chose and you were chosen, your will would be frozen like mice on ice. Not nice. You want some damn good advice times thrice, you catch a sip on the lip, or better yet, come and sit and catch a swallow when I spit my rap shit. I'ma flip this mode like Flip Mode Squad as the lyrical shots rock through your bod, son. The rap vlog, son. I'm a god, son. I'm a Sun Ra, god, Sun Ra. Boy, you can't test me with your bra. I bring the microphone hoopla, the way I sit on it and sit on it before I let my lips slip on it. I'm stabbing thoughts into the ozone, grabbing the gabbing afro, talking live, slapping verbal fives, rap hives. Burst on the surface of those who try to work us. Black circus ain't a purpose, we ain't worthless. But worthless you be if you can't be just like me, stone free like Jimi Hendrix. Tsunami brown waves, digging sound graves, separate altogether wherever the tether we weather your audio appendix. Call the doctor, shot ya in your world, rock ya. ya. High upon church steeples, the time a man clocked ya. Hard like Sonny Liston, you better listen. Your suspicion of madness can put us an ocean apart. Restart, cause it's about and all about time. Tick, ticking, talking, got our lives rocking, reeling. People moving through the life that they got no feeling. That's the kind of shit that got me dancing on the ceiling. I ain't healing factor for a long, long while. Third degree, third time burns from the sundial. Because time smoked me like Buddha unblessed. Mother Nature scoffs at Father Time, mad stress. Because once again, time came too early. Waiting for no one as he is a blind watchmaker. Dropping instruments in increments like Ray Charles and random. Rain out of tandem like a two-seater bike you forgot how to ride. Now I'm just in the journal of a mad, mad bride. I feel I must hide between pages and lines, lies and love minds, silent landmines up and wrecking behinds like no be no other kinds. Just ask Hines, for red was the only shade I could see. Color blinds, the only sound I heard was word cacophony. Hard times, and then at the Dickens of plot will be sticking to rich. I'm not like a flock of headless chickens crazy clucking. If you ain't nickel and dimed, you nip and tucking. If you want to doubt the facts, you spend a while in denial, where the feds spend your money with greed and guile. In an age-old style, they're buying bigger toys for smaller boys. Women buy silicone-saturated poise. I just can't think, there's too much noise. Precarious scenes, nefarious dreams. Not the first nor the worst mind to burst at the seams. But I will keep slinging them mental hot rocks, burning hot like sunspots. You best call the rat traffic cops. I shadow box with my box. I leave degrees of poem seas super salty like locks. Because I'm in the throes and the bliss of a metamorphosis. I'm growing. The knowledge that I bring on the upswing, I'm showing. For years I've been bringing it, still it's about to be brought. Special delivery, you're gonna catch a package of rap apocalypse. Brace for Armageddon. I'm spilling out and spilling over like a mouth too full of teeth. I'll be brief. Take that celestial soulful bath. Forge your own path. Speak up, for sometimes we know that there is violence in silence. If you've got artistic gout, then you swell your best out. And you don't be foreign trash, you be a culture clash. You need not get down with any ism or schism. Sometimes you really don't need a method, just rhythm.
Oh, that's amazing.
Wow.
There is so much in there.
Kate. Oh, shit.
I love how you're just rigorously writing notes down. I'm just like, man, I got to be present to this guy because I'm going to...
Feverishly.
That's so great.
Wow, dude. Like, where do you start? I'm just sitting there, like, listening.
Beginning.
What's that?
Start at the beginning.
Yeah.
Start at the beginning.
There are things that you have said, that you just said, that echo what I hold of value and importance.
Absolutely.
Yeah, there is just so much synergy there. It's so great.
Again, like rewind that. 'Cause there's so much
You gotta listen
and
to that again.
subtlety and quickness. So I just want to go through now. We're not going to be able to talk about all this
No
stuff.
worries,
but
man.
I just want to quickly go through some of my notes. Okay.
Sure.
Very first thing I heard, what I was trying to do was I was trying to hear anchor words for me, things that hit. And then there's something that spins off it that is like, oh my God, right? And you just can't write it all down, can't follow it all. But something that you first started, I wrote down rooted. Like, to me, that's just being present, being grounded, be rooted.
Totally.
And you talked about consciousness, different levels of consciousness. You talked about, what did I write? Because I wrote youth minds be swelling. Right, so that's the absorption rate at that in that what do they also call it? The influence, right? That's there with the youth. I'm like, damn, like what you're exposing yourself to. I wrote so damn fast that I can't even read half of it. Oh, democratic poop holes.
Ask Catherine.
Love that. Assholes, man. Just wow, dude. You talked about spending money. You talked about
money.
I think you said FBI or something, but
I said the Feds spend your money with greed and guile in an age-old style. They're buying bigger toys for smaller boys. Women buy silicone-saturated poise. I just can't think there's too much noise.
yeah, dude, can't think there's too much noise because that's all the madness that's out there, encouraging you to spend your money, encouraging you to do things that don't actually bring you joy and fulfillment, but they paint a picture like it does. And then we get caught up in it and wonder why we're lonely and broke and tired and things suck and I don't get it and I got all this shit, but I'm still not happy. It's amazing. Hard times. What else here? See if I can get something else in here, because there were some amazing things.
Thank you, man.
You talked about like screaming from the rooftop, and you talked about like what I hear in what you're saying is that no matter what, you're committed to putting it out there that there's more to life than all the noise.
Yeah,
but
man.
You talked about not being able to handle it. It's like, it's just, and I hear you, man. I feel it. I think we're all on that same vibe where you're just like, damn, like there's something inside you that you can't sit by and just let people just waste it. You know, we got to get out there and be like, man, there's juice. You guys could have an impact. If we all just took responsibility, that's what we created yesterday. If everybody just took responsibility for their own shit, right? And they committed to leaving people with a gain. That's it. If you just did nothing else, if all you did was, okay, regardless of what happens to me in the world, I'm going to focus on what I'm in control of. Because you can't control the weather. Just focus on what you're in control of. When you go to bed, when you get up, whatever it is, how you handle situations, you have a say in how that goes. And then if you smile with somebody or try to encourage them or help them, leave them with gain. What would the world look like if 7 billion people decided tomorrow to do that? I'm pretty sure you'd hear a lot of guns hitting the fucking ground. Wow, dude. Amazing. Oh, you talked about how you've been doing this for years and you're still about to drop. I fucking love that.
Thank you.
I fucking love that.
When I said to you guys, that's that feeling of something is always, it's always coming.
It's a mountain with no top, dude.
I can't say I peak when I'm dead.
Yes. We'll do this for another 40 years, and when the day you die, you'll still be learning.
Right. There you go.
Amazing. I love that. Anyway, I know that I'm going on here, but this is
I'm really flattered that,
something
you
else.
So many notes. I'm here, but I'm not here.
You're somewhere else.
There's things I can't even make out on this paper.
And
I only got about 10% of what I could have got. You talked. Oh man, you talked about the Black Circus.
Yeah.
That touched me deeply. Because I know that there's a lot of unpacking we could go there. A lot of unpacking.
Unblacking.
Unblacking. and this right here is where I'll leave it because it's fucking brilliant, man. Violence and silence.
Absolutely. I that was one of the ones. I'm so glad you picked that up because
I think it's probably the kind of killer line for the poem because people remember the beginning, people remember the end of a thing. That's the science of listening to a piece, a poem, a piece of music. That's why basically radio music is about 3 minutes, 30 seconds.
Right.
That's 3:15, 3:45, around there.
Right.
The ear starts to go with the general listener. So since I have to keep that science in mind, I know people are going to feel, they're going to feel it going out. And in this poem, it has that typical Wakefield flow, that pace, that I'm moving, but then it comes down to the, and I drop 4 lines like that. Take that celestial soulful bath, forge your own path. Speak up, for sometimes we know that there is violence in silence. If you've got artistic gout, then you swell your best out, and you don't be foreign trash. You be a culture clash.
I heard that one too, man.
Yeah, it's so awesome.
Those 4 lines, to me, I was in tears writing those 4 lines. Because I was like, sometimes you know where it comes from? It's very, and sometimes you go, ooh.
Where did that come from?
Yeah, man.
He's got that source.
When you recreated that, I got chills, man. The thing is what I find, especially with the 3-minute thing, for example, with you, is that I get so fucking jacked up I can't contain myself. So you got to stop, otherwise I'm gonna fucking explode or yell or be like, yeah, like that thing too. I feel that thing, right? Like,
we love that at poetry readings, by the way. We don't like a silent crowd, eh? If you feel it, scream out, yell, heckle, whatever. Just for the crowd out there. When it comes to
that's an energy piece
reading,
for
that's
sure.
exactly it. If you love something, if you hate something, let the poet know. That fever catches through the whole crowd. When you throw that energy, the poet throws it back, and it's tennis all night. So remember, let that poet know how you feel. Let that speaker know how you feel about the words they're speaking to you.
Oh, actually, I want to point something out with this. This is rare, but I learned this in a program that I took before. Those of you who sit at the back of the room, nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to call you out like you got to be the go-getter and sits in the front, each to their own. However, realize that if you're at the back of the room, you have a big responsibility. And that is that you're holding the space between you and the rest of the crowd and the performer.
That's an awesome thing.
Whoever's speaking, whatever's going on, if you're at the back of the room, you're actually the sounding board.
Yeah.
They are the clearing for the entire crowd, right? That's like an energy hub.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to point that out for people at the back of the room. The other thing I wanted to point out is get yourself somewhere on November 1st to be at the front or the back of the room. What's happening on November 1st, Wake?
Okay, this might be a bit premature.
Bring it on, bro. It's all good.
It looks like
We're all
Higher
premature
Ground, Capitol Hill location, is going to be hosting my reading series. Poésie et la Pâtisserie finished after a year's run. It was a great run at Pâtisserie du Soleil down in Woodbine. And I love all you cats for supporting it for an entire year. That's one of the greatest gifts I've been able to give back to this very, very tight, small, precious community. And now I have the chance to do it again. And next Thursday, 2 Thursdays, 3 Thursdays. It's November 1st. Thursday, November 1st. It's hard to forget. 6 to 8 at Higher Ground, Capitol Hill. I would like to thank Miranda Krogstad. If you know spoken word in Canada, you know Miranda Krogstad. She hustled this for me without my knowing. She just decided. She knew I was putting the word out, and she did this. She also guest hosted for me at Pâtisserie du Soleil when I had to go see my father in Toronto. She's a very special woman, people, in our community, our poetry community, our arts community in Calgary. Miss Miranda Krogstad, thank you so very much for getting this gig for me. Pitbull Poetry Reading Series begins this 1st of November when it gets here. Thursday, November 1st, Higher Ground, Capitol Hill location, 6 to 8 p.m. Thank you guys for letting me plug that.
6 to 8 p.m. And is that just a show up? There's
it's
no
going to be
cover,
whoever.
no...
You know what? Like I said, it's a little premature,
Okay,
but it's
sure.
going to happen. I like to try and make things so that our poets are paid, and I have no problem saying that out front. So whatever it comes down to, I was able to make Pâtisserie du Soleil free. Actually, there was no cover,
Cool.
and I was still able to pay poets. I don't know if I'll have that kind of leniency this time. Just know if there's a cover, it's going to our poets, it's going to the community, it's going to the right people for the right reasons, bringing poetry to Calgary.
Okay. So,
Awesome.
Listen, people, put that in your calendar.
Thank you.
Let's show what the GYST Life is all about. Let's get out there and support these guys, man. These are artists doing things. I know that I'm going to be there 100% for sure. You can come out and actually meet Wakefield, because this guy is brilliant. He has depth, and we're all learning from him. Dude, I want to share something right now. Again, it's just, it all ties together. You acknowledge your friend for
She did it all.
putting this together for you, because you had the courage to speak and share and speak up. That's exactly what you just said in your talk. Like, speak up, and now that you've done that, you've shared your passion with the world, you now have people who are enrolled in what you're up to, and they're actually out there being foot soldiers for your cause. That is what's possible when you share your passion with people.
I thank all you cats. I'm a small part of a really big piece of poetry here, and I just want to make sure I contribute the best way for me. I've got a reputation. I have kudos. I've got a few titles. I'm good. As I said to you gentlemen early, my purpose of poetry is putting it in places people don't expect it. But when these guys who are in the community, I don't know, I'm overwhelmed. This is one of the greatest things I can do, and that's put poets on, make sure they're paid, and make sure that everyone is enjoying more poetry and literacy in Calgary, man.
Cool.
Well, we'll make sure we put the links to wherever we can register, or if it's just a thing to show up.
Yeah.
One last thing with that, just in case, are kids welcome? I would
Yes.
imagine there might be some curse words, but kids are welcome.
You know, at Poésie et la Pâtisserie, I said to everyone, most of us poets have kids, and some of us come with them because childcare issues are an issue. It costs money, it's time, it's whatever. Mm-hmm. I said, guys, it's not like if you're coming with infants, they're not going to know. Of course, it's at that age where the kids know their curse words and they know they're bad, whatever the ages are. Know your audience. It's one of the first rules of being a performer in the first fucking place. Know your audience and respect that. If you're telling me you can't get your point across without a curse word, give me a break.
Yeah, right.
So pick and choose your FNS bombs wisely. Be courteous to some of the, I mean, common sense ain't common, but we are adults and we're performers, and there's a lot of compassion and understanding, and all these words going around in the world about being aware about other people. Be aware of the kids in the room. Look at their ages. Check with the parents. See how you feel.
Got it.
Know your audience. That's
Cool.
all.
Cool.
Awesome. So that's episode 45. We are.
Oh man.
I would love to just have this keep going.
Just keep going,
and I'm present
yeah.
to the edit afterwards, so
Totally.
I have to cut it out.
Yeah.
This was so much fun. Thank you.
Oh, so great! I look forward to there's an unknown thing being created here. I'm just connecting dots of others in the network now, and I'm excited. I'm excited about where this is going. So thank you so much for listening. If you have something to say, and if you say you don't, we know you're full of shit. If you have something to say or willing to say it, why don't you post a comment on this podcast? You know, wherever you're listening to it, post a comment there on our fan page, facebook.com/thegist, or send us an email, say hi at thegist.life. And be part of the conversation. You know you want to. There's a part of you that's like, I just gotta say this thing. There's this thing that you guys, and I love it and I hate you, or I hate it and I love you. Like whatever it is, man, just drop it down. We'd love to hear from you.